Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to also share, like, and comment.
The country is very excited about your political analysis. What has been your experience with political analysis? Has it put you in trouble?
It has to some extent, but I think I try the best I can to be careful, but I know that obviously sometimes you cannot be too careful with when it comes to politics. But I think my strategy and my understanding of analysis when it comes to politics has been always to say things as they are and always try the best I can to say things within the law. And maybe that's why I haven't really found myself in a situation where maybe I'm in so much trouble, because even if somebody's upset with my commentary, at the end of the day, they realize that, okay, this
He's
young
pushing
man,
an issue.
he's just bringing out an issue here. So yes, at some point, prior to 2021, I was in serious trouble. Thanks to the people that actually alerted me, I had to receive some calls somewhere to just tell me, young man, you don't know us, we have never interacted with you, but this is the information that we have about you. Would appreciate it for now, just try and tone down, avoid public places, if possible, avoid being at your place.
You received threats against your life?
Yeah, I received such calls. So at some point, I was even told my conversations were recorded on phone. And I think maybe they thought I was being sponsored. But I think even when they followed my conversations, whoever was recording my conversations, I think they were ashamed to realize that I did not have any conversations with any of these political figures for anything.
Yes.
So whatever I bring out is not something that somebody pushes me to talk about. It is something that, for me, I think comes out of conviction. When I look at a certain issue, and I think we all have our rights to our own opinion, especially with issues to do with governance and, leadership at national level. And so every time when I look at it, I'm one person that is so interested in the governance of this country. And so I think as a young person, I have a right to express my own opinion on these issues. So I'm glad that a lot of people appreciate what I do. I actually receive a lot of messages. I receive a lot of calls. There are a number of people that are even in the civil service at the moment that cannot speak for themselves. And they only find comfort in some of us, few young people and few people out there that speak out on issues. So it gives me great pleasure, though I know it comes at a risk.
You are from a humble family, brought up in Kafue. Your challenges, like you stated, especially to college, when you went to college. Encourage young people, because when they see you, they see a successful person. They think your life has been very easy. They think you've had sponsors all your life. And so how did you make it from that humble, ordinary family? Some of your friends probably are still in Sorbonne, in Kafue. How did you make it?
Well, I've always told myself that, you see, with life, the moment you decide to expect things from other people, you may end up getting frustrated. What we probably don't realize is that as much as we expect help from other people, those people also have other people that they look after. And so if you become so dependent on certain people to help you, you'll become frustrated. And that's why we have a lot of young people today that have ended up, involving themselves in drug abuse, alcohol abuse, because at some point you become frustrated. You think people have just neglected you. For me, what really helped me is the fact that I knew what I wanted. I told myself, if people cannot come to my aid, I would rather help myself. And so even the ideas of coming up with social media platforms, I looked at what has God blessed me with that can give me some money. Of course, not to say that there are no people that came through to help me. I have a few people that came to my aid and helped me. But I told myself, if I do not find a way of surviving by myself, then no one will. So I realized God gave me the talent and the skill officiate or to have, I have the skill for public speaking, and I can host. There's no function that I can fail to host. In my life, I've hosted, I don't know, I've hosted functions where the former Republican President Edgar Chagwa was a guest of honor, the Youth Indaba in 2020. I hosted that one. Last year, 2023, I hosted the Youth Indaba where the President, Hakainde Hichilema, was a guest of honor. I've hosted events where Vice Presidents, Madam Inonge Wina and the current Vice President were guest of honors. I've hosted functions where various ministers are present. And even other small functions in churches, in the communities. I've been involved in all those things. But all those things would have not come my way if I did not believe in myself and found a way of pushing myself towards this. That's why, even when it comes to social media, I encourage my fellow young people. You see, there's a lot that social media can do for you as a young person, provided you understand yourself and what you want to achieve. Sadly,
do you credit your rise in career to social media? Did it help? Because you talked about opening the Facebook page and changing it to Ken Dumbo.
Yes.
How did that help?
I'm who I am today because of social media. And that's why I don't even get offended when people call me Facebook comedian, Facebook journalist. It is what made me. I would have not been the Ken Dumbo that people know now if I did not use social media to this extent. Yeah. So I really appreciate social media so much. It has played a huge role. Right now, I do, of course, I have a privilege to be a radio presenter on Kwitu FM. I've hosted a number of TV shows, or both on national broadcaster and other private TV stations. But I think all those opportunities came after Ken Dumbo was known on social media.
On social media,
yeah. So it has really helped.
When you were growing up and you raised a campaign against abuse of alcohol and bars opening at not closing at all, how did you survive in that environment? What would you credit that to? Because while you were going to school, others were going to the bar for the cheap beer.
All right, so I think from the time I started school, I was basically, by the way, I was not educated in the community where I was brought up. So I was brought up in Solomon compound, but I ended up going to school in Kafue Estates, which is where there's Kasenje Primary School and Naboe Secondary School. So I remember, I was not too young to forget. I remember the time I was studying grade 1, my parents even asked me, where do you want to go to school? Do you want to go to Solomon Basic School or you would want to go to Kasenje Primary? So I said, I want to go to Kasenje Primary School. Wow. Now, at that time, Solomon compound was known for a lot of things. So there were stories of witchcraft, and then we had a lot of people that used to keep pigs. Okay, so when I went to Kasenje Primary School, and my fellow pupils discovered that I was coming from Solomon, it was the target to bring me down. So
to bully you.
Yeah, to bully me. Yeah. So anytime I had a confrontation with someone, they'll just be like, you were Chaksorobon, Kuvinkumba, Kuamfiti. So for some of my fellow young people, every time when they are told, Nduaksorobon, Kuamfiti, Kuvinkumba, it brought down their self-esteem. Yeah. But again, I thank God, and I must give credit to organizations like Child Fund, again, who were there for me, because they really raised my self-esteem. I never looked down on myself. So even when people would laugh at me to say, I just thought myself, but that has no bearing to where I'm going or what I'm going to be. So I thought, I remember at some point, I think I had a fight with a friend in grade 7, and he was again, I told him, you know what, I might be from Solomon, but one day I'll be better than you. Yeah. I don't know where that friend of mine is at the moment, but I think I'm far better.
You are here on the conversation podcast, exactly, and you are better than.
Exactly. So that really pushed me, and I'm really grateful. I'm not saying I was privileged or had better opportunities, but I think I also put in my best. I was focused, thanks to also some of the friends that I grew up with. I think being at Kasenje Primary School and also being at Naboe helped me find friends that would help me push myself in the right direction. And it's safe to say most of the friends that I engaged with or tagged along with, most of us are doing pretty well. We might have different career paths now, but when we look at each other, we're like, it was worth it.
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah.
We made it. Yeah. Let's come to your...
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Politics and political comedy. We have a tradition here of analyzing the country, what has been done wrong, what has been done better, through you telling us about your views about our past presidents. Let's start with Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda. What are your views?
Well, I was not there when President Kaunda was president. I think I was born at a time when he was actually leaving power.
Yeah.
But having read a few things about him, I think he was very passionate about Zambia, and he was very patriotic. I remember reading a story of him at some point, even trying to resign because of the tribalism sentiments that had taken off, obviously, in the party and also in the country at large.
Correct. So in 1968, there's a book that has been written by Mr. Scott Awena, may his soul rest in eternal peace, who documented that Dr. Kaunda walked out of that cabinet in 1968 and resigned. And a group of ministers had to go and beg him. Exactly. His contention was again about what he perceived was the division in the country and the rise of the country dividing itself alongside tribes. So you're right about that.
Yeah, exactly. So after I read that, and I looked at how people want to divide just based on tribe, I said, it doesn't make logical sense. We can be people of different tribes, we can be people of different color, but at the end of the day, we are one Zambia, one nation. So after I read about, of course, I've read about other things about him, but I think looking at how he built the country to where he left it, I think he was a good leader. His works must be appreciated. And we should never at any time think of dividing this country based on tribe, because obviously he came up with the One Zambia, One Nation motto, which means as a country we must be united. We might differ in political ideologies, we might differ in opinions, but at the end of the day, we are one people. And I think for me that stands out about him. Forget whatever happened, whether he was a dictator or not, but for me the fact that he still wanted us to be united, despite the fact that people called him a dictator. For me, that comes out.
Unity, yeah. Dr. Frederick Chiluba.
Dr. Frederick Chiluba, I appreciate the fact that he brought in the aspect of democracy. And I think that's one thing that we should appreciate as Zambians. And we should not just be democratic on paper or just verbally. We should practice it. For me, I feel he tried the best he could to ensure that people express themselves. And we can see that from the number of political parties that we have now, but also the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation. That was also vital, and for me, it really means so much. But we should live beyond just calling ourselves a Christian nation when our actions are far from those of Christians. We need to live by the word. We need to live by our actions. So if we call ourselves a democratic country, let us be democratic. If we call ourselves a Christian nation, let us be Christians even in the way we talk, in the way we carry ourselves, even in the way we lead the people that we lead. We should be Christians and we should be democratic. It shouldn't only be democracy when you need it. It should be democracy when other people need it too. So for me, that really stands out about the President Chiluba. May he so rest in peace.
Okay. Levi Patrick Mwanawasa.
Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, may he so rest in peace. Sad that he died before he could actually complete his tenure. Of course, other people may argue, but I think for me, he tried the best he could to just, stabilize the economy of the Republic of Zambia, but also to fight corruption. I think for most people, that's one thing that really comes out. Of course, other people may argue, but for me, that's what really stands out. He was so passionate about the fight against corruption. And I don't think he was doing it for selfish reasons, but I think he was doing it for the benefit of the Zambians. And it's sad that he couldn't live to see his dream come to pass. Yeah.
Rupia Bwezanbanda, who you comedians titled Dinyamasoya.
Well, I think I had an opportunity to interact with President Rupia Bwezanbanda. May he so rest in peace as well. We as a group of comedians, myself, Bwananjombe, Stephanie, J. Tony, and Kapoli, we had an opportunity to go to his residence before he died. I think it was on his birthday.
Yeah.
Sadly, we didn't interact with him for a long period of time because he was supposed to go for review to South Africa. So, but he welcomed us. He was a very jovial man. Yeah, I think people can say whatever they can say about him, but I think for me he was a very good man. I remember, I think during his time, I was young, but I think things were not too expensive. Yeah, the economy was friendly for every Zambian out there. He might have had his own issues, but I think I appreciate the fact that he was a very jovial man, and he tried the best he could also to just stabilize the economy.
Yeah, Michael Chilufya Sata.
Michael Chilufya Sata was, I think, is still one of the people that I look up to. I think he was my idol. May he so rest in peace. I love how he just interacted with the communities, and I loved how vocal he was. I love how he was able to speak things as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very blunt man, and he gave us hope that, you see, it doesn't matter who you are in society, as long as you are passionate about what you want and you'd love to see something come to pass. If you work towards it, it will definitely come to pass. And I think we saw it in him. A lot of people said a lot of things about him. Hey, he's a drunkard, he smokes too much, he's going to cause havoc when he becomes president. But I think he proved all of us wrong. And I remember when I think during that time, there were rumors that, no, when he becomes president, he was going to demolish certain areas, certain communities. And I think the area where I was brought up was one of the communities where people were saying, don't say to my communities, to my shanty compounds, but here we are, I think 10 years down the line, if not, he died in 2014. This is 2024. All these years that have passed, we're still here, people still living their lives. So may he so rest in peace. I think for me, he was really a great inspiration. And I think most of the courage that I have now, I think I copied from him.
Yeah. Edgar Lungwa Nakainde Ichilema. This now you are a grown man and they are a subject of your criticism. You are fully informed and you are a commentary and participant. So let's start with Edgar Lungu.
President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, for me, I think he did the best he could. He tried. I really don't know how it works once somebody is president. I'll first start by saying he was a motivation for us as young people, especially for me who grew in the ghetto, because the moment we heard that somebody from Chawama has become president, I was like, so
it's possible
that despite me coming from Solomon compound, at some point I can be minister or I can be president. It was a great inspiration, and most of us obviously I personally had hope in him. But I think with time I got a little bit disappointed. I think there was a time when the political arena just became so bad. I think for me, him being the president of the country, being the commander-in-chief of all armed forces, I think he had the power to tame cadres. And for me as a young person, I think I did not like living in an environment where you have cadres that, would disrespect police officers, cadres that would beat up their opponents left, right, and center, cadres that just wanted their presence to be felt and the presence of their opponents undermined. And I felt like the president had the powers to fight that, and unfortunately, maybe he did not put in his best because it worked out to his
against him.
Before he came before he came out of office, maybe it worked out for him. Because,
I see.
Because the time he was president, and we had all these cadres going around, bossy and stuff, threatening other people. I think it worked out for him, but for him as an individual, but it destroyed his reputation on the ground. And if only he had worked on that, maybe things would have been different. For me, I feel like that's the only thing that made him lose power.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
Yeah, if only he had worked on that. The rest of the things, now that we can make comparisons, we can say maybe we were at a better point. But the fact that, we had cadres, for me, that just dropped me off. So aside that, he also tried, but he could have done better.
Your elder church, President Hakainde Hichilema.
My elder church, wow, he has tried. To be honest with you, if you look at a number of things that they promised and looking at where we are, they have tried. I think I followed his campaign promises. He talked about the free education thing, which today we can safely say most of the children in various communities and various villages are accessing, which for me is a plus. They had talked about reinstating the bursaries, the food allowances, the meal allowances for our friends that are in some colleges or universities. That came to pass. They had promised about the NAPSA and pension funds and stuff. Those things came
the partial payment.
The partial payment. Those things came to pass. They had promised that they were going to try and do the best they could or they can to do away with the cadres. Of course, we have a few elements here and there, but I don't think it is as bad as it was in the past. So on that part, I think I applaud him. Of course, they promised a lot. Yeah, and I feel like some of the things that they promised, maybe they did not understand how the system works. Or maybe they did, but maybe fate is not just on their side. But I think we've realized that also the cost of living that they had promised to actually work on is not going as they promised us. Because they promised us that they were going to have a cheaper midday meal, for example. But today the situation is very different. I never imagined at a point in life as a Zambian when I was going to buy a bag of midday meal at over 300 kwacha. I never saw that coming. In terms of fuel, obviously we can all see that the cost of fuel is also what has affected us as a country. And of course they have their own reasons. But I think for me, the biggest debate that I always have is that when you come to me and promise me, I'll do this for you. I know this person is doing this for you, but I'm going to come in and do this for you. When you come in, you must do what you promised me. You should not come back and tell me, oh, yes, I promised to do this for you, but you see, this person that was there for you started. So for me, that is where I have a problem. And I have issues with us always referring to the past. Of course, I know there is no future without the past. We cannot write our future without looking at history. But I think it doesn't give hope to people that have got so much trust and hope in you to always make references to the past. When people criticize you, you say, hey, yes, we promised you this, but we can't do this because these people that... There's a reason why people got rid of those people that were there. And put you in their position. So I think they are trying on a score of
10?
1 to 10, I would give them 7. But I think we still have a long way to go.
Okay. Wonderful. Where do you think our country should be? What should we be doing right? What should we discard, the wrong things that we're doing?
I will start with the political arena. I have a problem with the kind of politics that we're doing in our country today, because we have a situation where people that have got the ability to make this country a better place cannot work together and only feel only when they are president or when they are in positions of authority can they help this country become a better place. I think we need to accept the fact that, one, we can only have a particular person in a certain position at a particular time. And we can, if only we could utilize the moments that we are not in positions of authority that would want to be in, if we could only try and maybe work together with the people that are in authority at that particular time to make Zambia a better place, maybe it would be at a better place. But I don't like a situation where from the time the results are announced to the time people are voting as a country, we are always in political fights. At some point, I had a privilege, I had an opportunity to visit Dubai. And at some point, I felt like, okay, maybe we are not a good country because we're a democratic country. Maybe if we were a monarch, would be a better country. Just maybe, because
then you take away the politics
exactly,
and the noise.
There will be no time when people will wake up and say, oh, we want this person to be president. Oh, this minister must be fired. Oh, the economy, what? At least would give the responsibility of looking at the affairs of the country to maybe one person or one particular family, and the rest of us look at, okay, I need money. What am I supposed to do? Maybe at that time. But you see, through the politics that we have now, we have a situation where we have divided the country. The country today is divided not because people want to be divided, but because of the politicians. In communities, we do not look at tribe. When someone dies, we don't look at, oh, what tribe are they? That's when we're going to go and mourn them. We don't look at that. When somebody has maybe a challenge with school, people don't look at what tribe are they? That's when we're going to help them. We help each other. Even when it comes to marriages, we do not look at tribe. Maybe there are certain individuals that are particular with tribe, but I've seen Bembas marrying Tongas. I've seen Lozis marrying Chewas. I've seen Ngonis marrying Bundas. And life goes on like that. But when it comes to our political arena, the situation is very toxic. And it is just an appeal to our politicians. Please, let's make the political environment very friendly. People are even afraid to get into politics now because they don't know what is going to happen to them when they get into politics. And that's why maybe we have the same names over and over in the political arena, because there are people that have got the ability to help us change this country. Maybe they do not have the political influence than like some of the political figures that we have now. So they would rather just say, okay, I have this idea, maybe I have the money to help, but because I do not have the political influence, let me just be with my money, or let me be with my ideas. So to the politicians, I think my appeal is, let's make the environment friendly. Let's allow development first before politics. Where we can help, let's help. Politics of insults, politics of undermining each other's, intellectual abilities and all. I think that is not the way to go. I think we can always criticize positively and without really calling this person by a name that is not theirs. I think for me that is where the problem is. And if only we could have a friendly environment in our politics, maybe we would be a better country. To the people, it's one thing expecting the government to do everything for us. But it's also another if we could also put in an effort. It doesn't matter what president is going to rule this country, but I don't think there will be a president that is going to satisfy our interests as a whole, as a country. At some point, we'll just feel, oh, I'm not satisfied with this person, or I do not like this. So at some point, I'll get the words of one of America's presidents, JF Kennedy. Sometimes it's not about what the country can do for you. It's about what you can do for your country. So before you can say, Boma Ilanganepo, the question is, what are you doing yourself?
Politics, do you think of joining politics? Because your political analysis and your commentary on political affairs and current affairs, do you think you go back to Kafue and be a member of parliament? Do you have those fleeting ideas?
Well, the system of us representing our people, aside what we do in the media, is that you have to join politics. And I think as a person who is so passionate about me representing my people, and also passionate about the affairs of this country and the governance of this country, I think at some point it is only important to get into politics, because on social media, I can only do as much. I can only say, oh, daddy, vaso. I can only say, oh, I can only say, oh,
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
But if I want my voice to yield great results, I need to be part of the system. And being part of the system means you being part of either being a member of parliament, being a councillor, being a council chairperson, or being in any of these positions of influence. So if God allows me to, I'll definitely join politics at some point.
Oh, good, good. On your comedy, who's been your influence? I noticed that you do both English and Nyanja. Of course, you don't do Bemba, but Nyanja especially.
I tried Bemba, but my Bemba is so bad. Yeah, okay, so when it comes to my comedy, one of the people that has been very influential is a young man called Eric Omondi from Kenya. He calls himself the president of comedy.
Yeah.
But now when you actually also try and follow what he does, he's more into issues of advocacy and issues of governance. And I just love the fact that he's so vocal when it comes to issues of, bringing out the experiences that people are going through. And I know some people find it offensive when we use comedy to make people laugh, because they only expect you to come up with jokes that will just make them laugh, and they do not want you to get into politics. For me, comedy is a medium to communicate messages. Yeah. So I think amongst a number of comedians that have been very influential for me, Eric Omondi stands out, but we also have the likes of Annie Kansime from Uganda. And in Zambia, Difficulty has been instrumental. Yes.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so as we begin to wind up our program about the arts, where do you think the arts should be? Do you feel supported? Do you feel maybe government or cooperative partners or even commercial companies have left you to fend for yourselves? What can we do better for the arts?
The arts industry is one of the industries that can help our country develop if only we took it seriously. I speak here not just as Ken Dumbo, as a comedian, but I also speak as the National Publicity Secretary for the Comedians Association of Zambia, an association that people don't take seriously because of the people that it represents. I really feel as a country, we haven't taken so much interest to promote the arts. Maybe now we are trying, because we're seeing a few policies here and there being implemented. But I think it should start from the time when people are young. In the schools that we send these children to, we should be able to identify what their talents are. Because I wanted to be a journalist, but today, I'm not earning a living from journalism. It is because of other skills that I'm earning a living from. There are a lot of other people that wanted to be doctors today, but they're bricklayers. There are people that wanted to be nurses today, but they're footballers. There are people that wanted to take up different professionals. And maybe they are in their positions now or in their career paths in terms of their arts and skills because they just pushed themselves, not because the current environment in the entertainment industry and the arts industry is very fertile for us as the arts. So I think my appeal is that I think government should really take interest in ensuring that the arts is taken seriously, and it should start from schools, primary schools. People must be involved seriously in different arts. And I'm glad that we as the association, as the Comedians Association of Zambia, we have pushed. You'd be interested to know, Your Excellency, that currently, during the Natas festivals and the Nasas festivals, for the first time last year, we had comedy being represented.
On the slot, yes.
And we have children showcasing their skill in comedy. Now, you can imagine when those children are in grade 12 or when they are in college or after
they would have perfected their art.
They would have perfected their arts and we'll have the Trevor Noahs, we'll have the Kevin Harts. People will be representing us at an international level. So, yes, we're doing the most on our individual capacities, but I think it would mean more when the private sector also comes in. We've had challenges when it comes to working with some private partners or private companies. Most of them do not really pump in money. Even if they had to pump in money, they don't pump in that much because maybe they don't feel we are doing enough. But it breaks my heart that even when it comes to ambassadors or influencers, people that are able to push maybe the image of certain companies, we still have companies that will look outside Zambia to bring influencers that are going to influence a certain product or service. I wish we could have maybe a law, maybe that just mandates all companies, if they have to advertise something with an influencer, we should not look at influencers outside the country. I think we have a lot of people within our country. I'm glad there are certain companies that have appreciated the local arts, but we still have a lot more that even get images of people from outside Zambia. But I think it should be a policy that maybe going forward, I don't know when, but whoever is listening to this and you have the capacity to push for this, would appreciate if all these companies, whether private or public, want to use people in terms of maybe festivals, in terms of pushing for brands. Let's use our local people. I think it's only then when we're going to appreciate and the people are going to feel appreciated. When you go to South Africa today, the radio stations, the TV stations are mandated to play 90% of local content. But here in Zambia, you go to a club, you go to a bar, 90% of what is playing there is foreign music. And even on our TV station, thank God to some of our local channels like Zambezi Magic, now we are trying to tell our stories. But even on our national broadcaster, you notice that we still have movies from outside the country that are showing. So, we still have a long way to go, but I think nothing is impossible. If only we put our mind to it, something can be done.
Two scenarios. You are invited to a wedding, to MC. How much work do you put in to make those people laugh? People think comedy is just like you're just cracking jokes, but there could be work behind the scenes. Just walk us through. How do you prepare? You have two functions, one a big political function where the president will be, and the one for the wedding. So let's start with the wedding.
Well, so firstly, I take every function, especially for weddings, I take them very personal.
Okay.
Because I understand that as a director of programs, it is me who determines what people are going to say about the wedding. So what I put in should be such that when somebody leaves the function, they'll be like, wow, I wish that guy was my director of programs. Oh, this person's wedding was epic because this person coordinated it very well. So I really take it personal. For me, I first have to meet with the
bride and groom.
The bride and groom. Obviously, most of them will make their bookings maybe 3 months or 4 months prior to the event. But before that, I need to make sure that I meet them. 3 days before the function, they must send me the program, indicating all the details and the names of the people that are participating, starting from the person giving the opening prayer, coming to the people that are going to give the speeches, and also the names of the bridal part. And it should show what the owners of the function, want to be part of the program. There are certain functions that I go to, you find that someone, because maybe they are an uncle or they are an aunt to the bride or the groom, they will just want to come in and say, oh, therefore, something. For me, if that is not part of the program, unfortunately, I will not go with it. Because I've been to functions where you've allowed these people to speak, maybe because they're a family member to either the bride and the groom, and they've just messed up the function. So to protect my job and also to protect the event of the people that have hired me, I ensure that the program is given to me 3 days before the function. We go through it together, we agree, and they give me the rights to say, whoever comes after this, we have agreed on this, please don't give them an opportunity. This is just to protect their function and also to protect my reputation. And also, when I'm doing the function, thank God for the education that I got. At least through my educational background, I've managed to learn about management, event management, and also plan functions and events. So I know what to do at what particular time, and I know what to say at where they're different. Of course, when you go for a function like a wedding, there are different people, different tribes, so you need to be very sensitive when you are cracking certain jokes, because people will not take them lightly. So I try to create an environment where everyone feels comfortable. I don't think there's anyone that...
Have you ever cracked a joke that you're in trouble with?
No. And fortunate enough, every time I'm at a function like a wedding, I avoid political jokes or political comments, because I do not just want to put people in a certain position where they feel
that you're partisan,
I'm
either
partisan,
or against.
So I think I try the best I can to avoid being political at function, and I think everyone that has hired me as the director of programs would testify. Actually, most of them actually even get surprised. I've had people that have actually gotten me after the event, and they're like, you know what? I underrated you so much. I just thought you are this political guy, this kakada. But I'm impressed with the way you've coordinated the functions. So I know what to do at what particular time. I don't think every time is time to talk about politics, and I also don't think every time is time to joke. The mistake that most people make also is the fact that they think being a director of programs at a function, you should then be a comedian throughout. Adding humor to a function is just one of the little components that you need to be director of programs, but it's also about how professional are you? How are you coordinating? What are you doing when there is no one to speak? You've called for someone to speak and they're not coming. How are you connecting those points where it's just dry, it's quiet? So you really need to know how to just coordinate things, and I thank God that I've mastered that art.
Yeah. Speak to the young people. They are the majority in this country. They are crying for jobs. And if they want to do entrepreneurship, there is no support from banks and other stakeholders. We seem to have a hopeless situation. The young people are the majority in our country, but they seem to be shouldering the troubles of our country, whichever sector you look at.
Yeah. Well, it's really sad. I think the time I came here when I was waiting for you, must be proud that I actually came earlier than you.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. I usually wait for my guests. So I love the discipline.
Thank you so much. So before you came, I was actually watching a video of the demolition of the Mnyaule market and stuff. And that is just one of the examples that we can look at in our country of how a lot of young people that are trying to, look after themselves by trying to just find opportunities where they can actually fend from, and they are being disadvantaged by having their properties or some businesses clamped down like that. To my fellow young people, the first thing is let's try and do everything within the law. I think that is the only way we are going to protect ourselves. It's very easy, even when you have your shop demolished, but you have the documents to say, oh, I did not bring myself here. I applied, I went through the council, I went through this organization, I went through this institution, and I was given these documents. So that's how I found myself here. So it's shocking that this has happened to me, and you can easily make demands because that is inconveniencing you. But also, it is my appeal to the government, relevant authorities and stakeholders out there. There is a lot that we, the young people, can do in this country. Sadly, we cannot even show our full potential because the environment is not friendly. things are bad. I can't lie. I might be here. Obviously, I'm also trying to survive in a way that I can, but things are very bad for the young people out there. And so my appeal is to the government, let's make opportunities for all. Let's not look at who is supporting us.
Yeah.
Let's not look at who is supporting me as an individual. If you are a leader in public office, look beyond yourself, look beyond your family members, look beyond your relatives, look beyond your party structure. Because at the end of the day, each and every person that owns a green national registration card is a Zambian, and they should have a share of the resources. So please, let's create an environment where if we have to share grants, let them be shared equally. If we have to share the funds that have been given out in the name of Citizen Economic Empowerment Fund or Community Development Funds, let's share them beyond looking at which political party does this person support, who do they support. I've had people that have called me names. Ken Dumbo, when I do a video that is criticizing the opposition, I'm called a UPND praise singer. When I do a video that is criticizing the current government, I'm called your PF or you are for the opposition. But for me, that really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm Zambian. And I think I have the right to my own opinion. I have the right to express myself on issues to do with national governance, as long as I'm doing things within the law. And so my appeal to everyone out there is, let's try the best we can to push ourselves, young people. Sometimes we may cry all we can. The help may never come. But I think God gave each and every one of us a skill or a talent that can help us push ourselves. Patson Daka today is playing in England. I don't think...
He grew up in Kafue.
He grew up in Kafue, yes. And today he's a star in England. And I don't think if he had waited for someone to push him or for the government to push him, I don't think he would have been in England today. We have a number of examples that we can look at. There are different comedians, there are different actors, there are different singers that are doing the best they can in their own capacities. Identify something that you can do as an individual. Try to push yourself. Sometimes people may not believe in you. Sometimes the government may not believe in you. Sometimes even the leaders in your communities may not believe in you. But you only have yourself to push yourself a step further.
Oh, wonderful. I've enjoyed this conversation, but we've run out of time. Kazungo Emmanuel Ndea, popularly known as Ken Dumbo, is a TV personality, radio personality, and as we've heard, is a comedian, is multi-talented. And I hope that we've learned a few things from this podcast. Ken, I'd like to thank you for coming and for sparing time. I know you just came from the Copper Belt, but you still found time.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, J Cool, and turn on the notification bell, cause I'm gonna see you in the next video.